Here's the notes for Carry On Mr. Bowditch, chapters 13 through 18. First we'll go over our character, our main protagonist, Nat, again. And in these chapters, Nat continues. This is a coming-of-age story, and we started with him around 12, and now he has truly entered adulthood. And that foundation of academics that he studied as a young child is now being put to use. He now has a job and is choosing who will work with him and under him and taking responsibility for those choices. We also see him getting married and desiring that type of companionship and feeling alone when his wife dies. And so really it's a big adulthood section of the book. Elizabeth, and I'll go over this a little bit later as well, but I was kind of shocked at how little notes I really had for her. And ends up she is more of just a static, meaning not changing. She stays the same throughout the story. And a flat character. She's not real, round. We don't have a lot of, good things and bad things about her. She's just kind of to show that marriage part with Nat. Whereas Lem Harvey is a dynamic character and a round character, and so he starts out a huge troublemaker. All he wants to do is fight. He's mean and nasty as he teaches. Nobody likes him. And when he starts to learn and stops just acting on his emotions and his maybe fear of not being able to learn and settles down, he actually learns fast and ends up changing. And that's that dynamic part of this character into a great guy that Nat's going to want to have along with him on future voyages. He's definitely round. We see bad parts of his character, like that he likes to fight, and good things about him as well. I wanted to go over this phrase that comes out of when Nat had just been told on the ship that his wife had died. And let me just read the quote from the book, and it has a double meaning, and I think you're going to get what I mean. Nat didn't know when they went out. He realized finally that he was alone, and the cabin was growing dark. And this is called, in literary terms, a double entendre. And that's not going to do it. Anyway, let me, hold on, I'll get something here. I can point with that. Okay. And that's just a big literary term that means double meaning. And I want you to look in particular where it says he realized finally that he was alone. This is that he was alone in his cabin. Everybody else had left. But it also means that he was alone. He didn't have his life partner of Elizabeth anymore. And this cabin growing dark means, yes, it was becoming nighttime, but also a dark stage emotionally for Nat. So that's called a double entendre, and it's a great literary technique to really help your reader feel what is going on there. So he realized he was alone, and the cabin was growing dark, and that's how it was emotionally for Nat at that time too. Okay. Some themes. I thought it was interesting when we were going to sell our things, and Nat basically went with more of a straightforward, hey, I want to sell this, and the people before them kind of kept, shouting these empty compliments that almost demeaned the people, made them feel like, do you really think you can pull this over? And definitely think there was a theme there of honest business is the best policy, not, using smart talk to try to work something over on somebody. And I would definitely agree with the author on that one. huge theme in this book is our irresponsibility hurts others. When, you make a book or, whatever, it's got to be right, so we have to be more detailed. And especially if it's something that could, affect somebody's lives or somebody's spiritual lives, we need to get our details straight. I thought it was interesting when Mary thanked Nat for helping her to marry her spouse, even though he did die at sea, which was her fear. And there's a theme there of, we can't avoid hard times, but well, maybe she could have not married him, but that sometimes a hard time at the same time is the best time. And there's something to think about there, that just because something's hard doesn't mean it's wholesome, or there's a word I'm looking for here, fulfilling maybe. And I really like how that Mary, was able to see that and to show us that some hard things are worth it. Okay. Another big theme throughout here is when you have grief. Even Scripture says, that God comforts us in our grief so that we can learn to comfort others. That's loosely translated. You should look that up. But basically, know that everything is used for a purpose, and that when you find yourself focusing maybe on yourself and your own hurts and problems, helping somebody else with similar things will also help yourself. Okay. Sailing by Ash Breeze again, and it's working for Nat. That, whatever his circumstances, he did the best and the right thing he could possibly do with them. And it worked. So, huge theme in this section is that learning that you are able to learn, and being treated, with respect as a human, with the creative capacity that's so much more than an animal and that sort of thing, is very important. Okay, and let's see if I. One thing that I wanted to talk about and think that you should talk about with parents and others is the way that Nat and Elizabeth got married is more typical than I would like it to be. As I said before, we don't know much about Elizabeth. The main thing that Nat knew about her is that she liked him. And when he knew that, he immediately got on a ship and left and just dreamed and had a whole relationship with her in his mind. But he didn't have any contact with her in reality. And then he got back, and it looked like actually she was going to marry somebody else. And then he showed, well, I like you. They immediately got married. And then he left on another voyage, and she died alone, and he realized he was alone again. And the point of this is that I want you to talk to your parents in particular about that, how to say this, that just because somebody likes you is not the best reason to marry them. You need to really think through things of how, does this person love God? Is this person going to, be a good wife? Do we have this, a lot of other issues, and don't just get hung up on the emotional of, well, they like me and I'm lonely. The other thing that I need to mention here is, just I desire companionship. This person wants to be my companion. That's all good, and that's part of it, but that is not the whole extent. So talk with somebody about that. And For our thinking activity, I really liked how that Nat spent so much time teaching his crew, and he was very patient, and he believed in them that, God had made them capable of learning. And so I would like you to do similar and experience the same thing. So grab a younger brother or sister, teach them something, how to draw something, how to read, how to count, how to tie their shoe, how to shoot a basketball, and keep at it, keep it encouraging. I don't, we're not trying to do Lim Harvey. That's a foil character showing, you don't want to lose patience and bark orders. And afterwards, just reflect on that and see how you could become an even better teacher.